In this video, I'm going to talk about a simple model of growth. In the previous videos, we talked about the dividend discount model, in which we state that the price of a stock equals to the present value of all of its future dividend payments. Then we see that it's difficult to estimate the dividend payments at the distant future. Therefore, we need some simplifying assumptions, and we introduce the constant dividend growth model. The constant dividend growth model assumes that dividends grow at a constant rate g forever. And here is a timeline for the constant dividend growth model. So this timeline represents a constant growth perpetuity, and we can calculate the price of stock using this formula. So from this formula, we might say that if the manager of a company wants to increase the price of the firm's stock in order to maximize the shareholders' wealth, they need to increase the dividend payment at time 1, given a constant equity cost of capital. But that statement assumes that there is no relation between dividend at time 1 and the growth rate of dividend payments. However, there might be actually a relation, an inverse relation between dividend at time 1 and the growth rate of dividends. In the next slides, we are going to learn more about that. So, first of all, let's say how we can determine the dividend payment at time t. So the dividend payment at time t equals earnings or net income at time t divided by number of shares outstanding and multiplied by dividend payout rate at time t. So dividend payout rate is simply the amount of dividend divided by earnings. So if you remember from chapter 2, net income or earnings actually equals to retained earnings plus dividend payments. Okay, so now let me ask you how the company can increase its dividend payments. It can increase its dividend payments by increasing the income in that year or decreasing the number of shares outstanding. Or it can change and increase its dividend payout ratio or dividend payout rate. Okay, so now our question is that should the firm pay most of its earning as dividends, or should the firm retain and reinvest the funds? Again, here is the relationship between retained earnings and dividend payments. So net income equals retained earnings plus dividend payments. The question here is, should we pay most of the firm's earning as dividend payments, or should we retain those earnings and reinvest them in profitable projects in order in order to grow the firm. So the quick answer is that this decision depends on the profitability of available investments to the firm. So here we see a simple model of growth. So our assumption here is that all changes in the future earnings result exclusively from new investment made with retained earnings. So whatever we retain from the net income, the changes in future earning will result from that retained earning. So change in earning equals to new investment multiply the rate that we get on those new investments. And the new investment itself is earnings multiplied by the retention rate, how much we retain versus how much we pay out as dividend payment. So here we can come up with a estimation for growth rate. So G, growth rate, actually equals to retention rate multiplied by return on new investment. Based on this, we can conclude that the effect of cutting the firm's dividend to grow depends on the value of new investments the firm plans to make. So it depends on what opportunities in front of the firm and whether these opportunities are profitable or not. So if the return on new investment is higher than the firm's equity cost of capital, then this new investment will create value and maximize the shareholders' wealth. So in this video, we see a simple model of growth in which we kind of understand the relation between the growth rate and dividend at time one. So the company cannot simply increase the price of stock by increasing the dividend at time one because there is a relation between the growth rate and dividend. So if the firm has many profitable investments available, the firm will be better off investing, retain its earning and invest on those projects. Otherwise, the firm would be better off paying out most of its earnings as dividends to its shareholders.